So this isn't, let's figure out a new way to go, a new direction, let's launch in, the next 30 days. This is no, we're going to figure out something. We're going to test it. We're going to put it up within the next 30 minutes to 2 hours max. So that's how we work on experiments. And then we launch it for 7 days, use that to get feedback from customers in the market, and then go back and scale.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Growth and Scaling Podcast. I am so excited today to have someone after my own heart on the show. Tash Jefferies, will you please tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure, Todd. I'm Tash Jefferies. I'm a resident mentor on 500 global accelerator programs. And literally, that's all I do. Like all day, all year round, I help startups accelerate.
I love it. So who do you talk to? I mean, who are you helping with this? You say you're part of a couple of different programs. Are these your programs? What do you do?
Yes, so I work with two of the world's largest VC funds that do accelerator programs. So I work with 500 Global and also A16Z. And so usually what I do is I come in as either a resident mentor is what I tend to do, where I'm with companies for 3.5 months, literally break down their businesses to help them build back up again, can cover everything from operations to sales and marketing to human resources, all the way up to fundraising. And so that's what I usually do. And then sometimes I can just come in and teach a few topics around sales and marketing, talking to customers as well.
So where did you get this experience? What have you done to lead you up to this point? What qualifies you to be this trainer? I mean, obviously you got the energy, but tell us about what you know, where you learned this stuff.
So Todd, it's so funny. I get asked that question so much. And honestly, I stumbled into it. I had no idea that I could even do this for a living or that I was good at it. But
awesome.
I mean, if we go back to 2011, that's when I tell people when my life changed. I had been working in management consulting for 7 years. And that year I lost one of my brothers, unfortunately. And then I almost lost another brother. So it was a traumatic year. And then in December of that year, I got viral meningitis. And so when that happened,
shut up.
I'm serious. I had to take a look at my life and what it is that I wanted to do. And I vowed to myself, if I was able to get my health back to 100%, I was going to focus on doing things that I loved and doing things that just naturally brought my energy out. So lo and behold, in 2012, that's when I decided to become an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur from 2012 all the way up to 2015, maybe even 2014, a little bit less. And then I decided to become a startup founder. And from my experience of being a 3-time founder, that's how I came into mentoring. And honestly, I did my first resident program for 3.5 months back in early 2019 and moved to Saudi Arabia of all places. Woo! And I haven't looked back. I've been doing this coaching and mentoring since then.
Crazy. That is awesome. Yeah. Very awesome. So I mean, tell us, it sounds like you recovered at least 200% from where you started, I'm guessing. I mean,
I totally did.
Okay. That's awesome. Now tell us about your brother. Is he all good? The one that
one of my brothers, the one that almost died, his name is Brian, but he is here. I get to go see him when I do my programs in Edmonton. I split between Edmonton and Calgary for my resident programs. So he is alive and healthy and still teases me because I'm the little sister.
All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And I'm glad you're back to health. Now let's talk about your execution style. Like, what are you doing with these groups, and why do these big funds trust you with their prize investments?
Well, I think the very first thing is that for me, and a part of this energy in my secret sauce is that from day one, I meet a founder, I get them. I learn what their business is. I learn exactly what they're trying to do. I get to know their style as a person, as an individual, and then I leverage those styles to be able to help them to grow. And one of the biggest pieces, again, this is all about growth and scaling. My secret sauce to being able to help my founders is that I live and breathe by experimentation. And so I believe in
Ah,
taking our founders through an experimentation process week on week. So this isn't, let's figure out a new way to go, a new direction. Let's launch in, the next 30 days. This is no, we're going to figure out something. We're going to test it. We're going to put it up within the next 30 minutes to 2 hours max. So that's how we work on experiments. And then we launch it for 7 days, use that to get feedback from customers in the market, and then go back and scale.
wow.
And since I discovered that, and I discovered that process through 500 Global, I live and breathe by it, because that's how we end up getting the results for our founders using that method.
I love it. And how early stage are these companies that you're working with? I mean, are these just like fresh out of the box ideas? Are these people that have generated some revenue? I mean, talk to me.
Absolutely, Todd. So usually what we're looking for are pre-seed companies. So they created a product, even if it is lo-fi or, an MVP, they're able to actually put it out to market, have people use it. They usually have to have some customers and some traction, because for me, what I leverage is, if you have an idea of who your ideal customer is, let's go and make sure and test it and make sure we have the right one. So they usually have to have some type of a product or solution that's already in the market, that they have, even if it's a handful of customers, they've got to have at least some customers, so that we get a sense that, the market already, there's a signal from the market that somebody wants this. And then they're usually who we work with. We don't go as early as idea, because that's usually hard to figure out, like go-to-market strategy and everything on the fly, especially if all we have is like 3.5 months to work with founders. So a little bit of traction, pre-seed,
good luck.
But they're ready to ramp up. Exactly.
No, listen, I understand what you're working with there, because I've worked with that audience before, and it's tough. It's tough to keep them focused on. Oh my gosh, yeah. And so it's like shiny object syndrome to the max.
Oh, yes.
A lot of our listeners here on the podcast are people that are post-launch. They're people that are looking at, what do I do now? Like, holy crap, I launched and I'm like making money. I've got employees. What do you see as you're coaching these people from that earlier stage to where they are launched and where they are operational? What do you see as some of the biggest problems that kind of linger into that growth and scaling stage?
There are so many, but if I were to pinpoint it to the one major one, I know, Todd.
Yeah.
The one major one I would see is that I think many founders and entrepreneurs don't know their numbers. I actually just had a call with someone who heard me on a previous podcast, and I kept saying, know your numbers, know your metrics. If you have no idea, like for me, if I go to a founder or an entrepreneur and say, tell me, like, how many customers are you talking to per day? How many of them do you get to the proposal phase and move through your funnel? And then how many are you able to close? If you have no idea what those numbers are for your team, then you're screwed. And unfortunately, even entrepreneurs, multi-million dollar, like doing multi-million dollars in revenue a year, don't necessarily have those numbers. You have to know how much product you're moving. You have to know your inventory. You have to know what things are on hand, because I'm going to ask you those questions. And if you can't answer them for me, well, guess what? We've got an issue, and we have a systems problem, and we have to go back to basics and take a look at what are the systems that you're operating over, because there's probably a lot of work to do.
Always a lot of work to do. Always a lot of work to do.
It never ends.
And let me tell you, Tash, you bring up so many good points. I've heard from so many operators that the biggest problems they face are like, people, processes, and tools. And you just hit those all in one little, different words, but the same kind of thing.
Absolutely.
When you don't know your processes, when you don't have good tools, and when you don't know how to manage your people, that's just a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely,
how do you kind of help? Right. I mean, how do you help these people kind of see? Because a lot of them aren't going to raise their hand and say, "Hey, I got problems managing people." Like, everyone thinks they're a good manager, right? I mean, how do you kind of expose the issues so that your people that you're working with say, okay, you're right, I could use some help here?
Right. So again, this goes back to what I had said earlier. So on very first meeting a founder, I go right to trust. They get to know that, can I swear on your show just before I say anything?
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay? Like, there's no bullshit with me. I'm going to tell you straight up what's going on. If you ask me for help, I'm going to give you the straight goods. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to go and cut right to what is happening that I see. And so because I built that trust, though, all the founders that I work with and entrepreneurs that I work with know that I'm never going to say anything that isn't going to move you forward and make you get better and build your business. And so honestly, when we have that tough conversation, it's right out the gate. Listen, I know you're doing a lot, but you're going to have to fix this. You have people who are underperforming on your team. We're going to have to figure out either how we have an honest discussion with them. And usually it comes down to the founder understanding, like even those hard things where they don't manage people. One of the biggest challenges with managing people is they're not putting KPIs or key performance indicators in place for their people. So how the hell are people supposed to thrive if they don't know what they need to do, how to deliver to thrive if you haven't given them that? So it comes back to like, let's give them a blueprint for success. And most founders do not even do that. So that's one of the first things that I like to get in place immediately, because that can help.
It's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it? I am so glad you're here, and I just wanted to take a few seconds to tell you about a program that we have assembled with a lot of our podcast guests and a lot of people who are listening to the show who are feeling the same way that they do. There's a recurring theme. You'll hear a lot of these founders talk about, I couldn't have done it without my team. I couldn't have done it without a support group of peers. I couldn't have done it without having someone to talk to that understood my feeling of isolation as an operator of my business. You see, you're not alone. It is hard running a business, and it's even harder when you know you can't express all your deepest concerns and frustrations with your executive team. It makes them nervous. It gets them scared. You don't want scared people on your executive team. So where do you turn? The Captain's Council is where you turn. The Captain's Council, it is an organization that we are put together with podcast guests, as well as people who are listening who are in the same boat. You see, peers are the only ones that can give you the type of empathy, the type of advice that only a founder or operator know and understand. Go check it out at captainscouncil.com. I know you're going to love what you see there. We have put together an organizational structure that has small group settings, a global community of founders and operators, as well as monthly and quarterly in-person events. You're going to love what you see there. I can't wait for you to check it out and enjoy the rest of this episode.
Unbelievable.
It's mind-blowing. How do you align a team around a missionless mission? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. But it happens all the time.
Happens all the time. You know, in fact, it blows my mind, you know, the keyword mission statement, right? Like, you have a mission to perform. Like, what are you going to perform? And I think that a lot of people think it's a broad vision instead of a mission. I mean, if we drop our military troops into like a small little behind the lines city to go take it over, and they just get dropped in, they don't know what to do. What are they going to do? They're all going to die.
That's exactly it.
Right?
Which is unfortunately, a lot of entrepreneurs and founders do exactly that. Like, they just let their team go wild and say, go at it. And it's like, people are looking around saying, okay, what exactly am I supposed to do? And either they're going to stand there or they're going to flail and fail and do nothing.
Right.
So no, let's give them a blueprint for step by step. This is what they need to do. This is how you are successful in this role. And if we provide that guidance to them, then it's a no-brainer, and it's easy to tell people who can do the job versus people who can't, instead of like, I don't know, are they good, are they not? It becomes clear then. So it's all about clarity.
Totally. So how do you walk into an organization and understand, I mean, some of it is just blaring in the face what's wrong with their organization, but how do you help them establish better practices of resolving some of these things?
Great question. So really, for me, it's all about understanding the founder and getting to know where are they jazzed up? What are they excited about fixing most in their business? And so for me, it's always about taking where they are telling me their vision is, listening, then being able to mirror that back and saying, do I have you right? This is where you want to go. And then the next big piece is then putting it into very simple, smart goals for them. So, very specific, measurable, actionable, time-bound, realistic goals. I know I messed up the order, but that's okay. Everyone listening knows that is.
Yeah,
but literally giving founders and giving entrepreneurs a very clear set of actions and tasks that are easy for them to execute on. So for instance, if I'm dealing with a company who wants to get more leads in, or is like, I'm not sourcing enough customers, then we're going to make it super simple of, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a test experiment with whoever you told me your ideal customer profile is, set up the language in a landing page, should take no more than 30 minutes. We're going to put it out there and then see what comes back. And so that's something that they can wrap their head around. It's very simple to do. All my founders know how to do this, and they can actually action it and see, and then come back. Now, we deal with whatever happens. If there's no response, well, then guess what? We have the wrong ideal customer profile. Or I did that, and oh my gosh, I just literally, and I've had this experience, they did 5 times the number of customers from doing this simple test. And then we're like, okay, we're cooking with gas. Now let's take that to the next level and expand. But either way, we're going to get a signal of what's happening, what's working, what's not working, so that we have a foundation to start on.
And I was just going to ask, a lot of these founders, when they share with you what they think needs to happen, a lot of times that's not what should be happening, right? I mean, do you just kind of let them figure that out, that they were kind of like focused on the wrong thing, or do you tell them up front?
Yep, no, I let them figure it out. So one of the other things I do is ask lots of questions. So what do you think we should do next? Here's 3 different routes. Which one do you think is the right one? And I'm a coach, right? I'm a coach and a mentor. My goal is not to dictate what you should be doing in your business. And ultimately, I trust all my entrepreneurs and founders to know what the right step is. But all I do is help to lay the foundation for, here are some ways we could take this. Now, you tell me, which direction should we be going into? And then they take the ball and run. And in many cases, that's all they need. They need someone to be able to take that big cloud, from, back in the cartoons when you have those kerfuffles and it's just a big cloud of stuff. And so my goal is to get rid of the cloud, let the dust settle, and let them see what's really there. And then let them pick up the ball and go running.
And isn't it amazing when they actually see what's there and they actually see what could be happening with their avatar? What kind of expressions do they show you? What do they feel when they finally figure that out?
The best ones are why didn't I meet you a year ago when I first started this thing? I could be so much further along. But for me, I'm I love that reaction, because I'm you know what? Don't worry about the past. You know what you need to do. Now just go. Pick up that ball, run with it, keep going as far as you can. And you now have the tools to be able to, go to the next level. And then I'm always there usually. I always tell my founders, once I'm your mentor for life. You can't get rid of me. I'm not going anywhere. No.
That's awesome. Now a lot of people get confused though. Is it, do you design product around your avatar, or do you design a product and then see who your avatar is? Tell me what you think there.
I love that. And I always tell any entrepreneurs or any founders, and actually that's what I look for when I start advising founders with my own consultancy. You have to be 100% committed to solving a problem for your customers, meaning you've identified that there's a problem that your potential customers are facing, and you know how have a solution that they're saying, you know what, just give it to me. I don't even care how much it is. This solves this for me. I want it. And so I think that going that way is the way that you save lots of money, save lots of time, save lots of wasted trial and error. Because if you have an idea of a problem that's big enough to solve, and you talk to people and you find that people are saying, if you solve this for me, I'll pay for it. I don't even care how much it costs. Then you've got something that you can then start iterating on and building out from there, asking further questions. Now, exactly what would that look like for you? But I always suggest to people, do not go the other way around, because you are going to have lots of gray hair or maybe no hair at all because you pull it all out, then go and try to find customers for this solution or this product you've created. I always suggest people going the other way around.
Isn't it funny
all
though?
The time.
I mean, a lot of people do that all the
they
time.
They do. Too many.
And what I find, dude, and what I find is so funny, you know, I'm a big Elon Musk guy. I love his mindset. I love how he does stuff. I was watching his whole series on Netflix about his launch, right? Like the mission to Mars, or I can't remember what it's called. But as I watched and I was thinking about the launch, and I was thinking about the stages of launch, how much energy it just takes to launch a business.
Yes.
And then once you're in orbit, you like drop the big heavy crap off the rocket and you can navigate, right? Like you can now function as a business. And I look at these startup founders and I watch people kind of go through these motions and burn through the money that they've raised, right? And just wasting it trying to figure out who they are. It blows my mind that all they need to do is, of all the people I could work with, which ones do I really want to work with?
Right.
And what is the thing that I can solve for that person that they're going to want me to do over and over and over again? And that's really how simple it is. But they just make it so darn complicated.
They do. And again, I love Elon as well, but unless you're Elon, your ability to be able to get all the money you need to make this fantastic product out the gate, it's super low. So why not go the other way around, which is solve a problem for people, solve it very well, be at the top of your game, and then build your product from there. And quite honestly, I'll tell you, for 2 of my 3 startups that I was the founder of, that's all we did. We solved a problem before we even had a product. You know why? Because we were solving the problem for our customers. And as long as you solve that problem for your customers, they don't really care how you're doing it. They don't care what you're doing on the back end. Everything at the time as we were building, a lot of it was manual. We were building out a system to be able to manage the data, but did they care? No. They're like, you are solving this problem for us. You are helping us find these people that we could not find on our own. So here, take the money. This is successful. And I always tell founders, go back to basics, solve a problem for people that they're willing to pay for. And that's usually the best way and the safest way to go.
So Tash, one of the things that I see a lot of founders do wrong is that they tend to focus more on this cool product that they developed instead of thinking about who they developed it for. What can you tell us about designing around who you want to serve versus just designing?
The best advice that I give to founders around this is, instead of spending all this time, money, energy on creating this product that you're unsure who the heck is going to buy it or use it, instead find a problem that people are having that you can come up with a better solution for than anything that's currently out there. And it's so much better because then you're then in hunt of people who have that problem. You can find them. There's always a way to find them, whether it be by marketing or going out to prospect and then solving their problem for them, rather than, I have this big, this solution. It does this. And people are like, yeah, that's nice. What am I supposed to do with this? So it's always better to go the opposite way around. And to me, that's also when you know you're cooking with gas, when you have something, because you can find more and more of these people who have that problem and just say, you have that problem? Not anymore, because I just solved it. Here's what you can use to solve this problem. And that's how, to me, that's how you properly build a business.
100%. 100%. For those of you listening and you're in that mode of growth where you feel like, okay, what is my next step? Where do I need to go next to really grow and scale what I've built? It's that point exactly. You have to be thinking about, am I still serving the people I want to serve? Because if I'm not, I got to retweak what I'm doing and go back to helping the people that I want to help. And for that, to that point, Tash, how often do you see people design around a person or an avatar? They can't afford to pay them very much money for what they do.
All the time. too much. And on top of that, another problem that I see a lot, Todd, that people don't think about is sometimes when entrepreneurs and founders come to me and they're like, this is what we're using to sell our solution. And then I'm looking at it and I'm like, it is so generic. It speaks to 0 people. Nobody comes up to a website and says, oh yeah, I need this next solution that's going to help me save time for this problem that I don't have. Like it's too generic. And so one of the things that I try to do, get down to, and again, we had talked about earlier, I'm not sure if we caught it when technical issues happen, but thinking of that human in mind. Who is the actual human behind the problem that you're solving for? Because if you can relate and connect that problem to that human, that human connection, it's going to be much easier for you to come up with a language for the marketing, very specific, and actually come up with terminology and words and like the slogans.
I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today. Honestly, Tash, your energy is infectious. I love it. I hope everyone listening will go and follow you. Jump onto her website and see what she can do to help you in your growth and scaling journey. And for the rest of you, come back to the next episode. We are bringing amazing content to you in so many ways, shapes, and forms. Tash, you are such a great benefit to have had on the show. So grateful for you and your time. Amazing, right? Amazing. We did have a little bit of a technical glitch right at the end of the interview, but I think we patched through it enough that you'll never know what's happening on the back inner workings of the Growth and Scaling podcast. We love people like Tash. She is amazing. She is someone that you want to reach out to if you need some advice. Go ahead and reach out to her. Advice is always invaluable in your growth and scaling journey. And if you are truly in the mode where you are ready to grow and scale, you need someone like her in your corner. And you could also use people like your own peers. That's right. Other people who are growing and scaling their business, people that are past launch, just like you, trying to figure out what their next steps are. That's right, we have a community called the Captain's Council. For those of you that don't know what that is, go check it out at captainscouncil.com, and you'll see that there's a whole group of people just like you in the process of growing and scaling their business that are looking for that next step. Don't hesitate to check it out. We hope to see you there. We also look forward to catching you on the next interview. So don't miss out. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Growth and Scaling podcast.